It isn't though, because any footballer, I mean, you go to a game, you watch your favourite team for 90 minutes. After that, apart from anything football related, anything about his private life should be completely just banned from it all. You shouldn't. You don't need to know about it. No one needs to know. Why does it matter?
Well, I don't necessarily think that's true, to be honest. If you're living in some far-flung place in the world, you know who Manchester United is. That's the first club that comes to mind if you talk about English football. And if you see a photograph of Ryan Giggs wearing a Man United shirt under the headline "Play Away" or whatever headline you want to put on there, that doesn't represent good image for the football club. And that's a whole separate issue of public interest, but that's a more focus point from a business point of view, why it's public interest that people know what he's up to.
That doesn't affect the club though, that affects him personally, and that's the bottom line of it. It's got nothing to do with Manchester United, it's got to do with Ryan Giggs.
Yeah, well, I understand that point to an extent, but I can't get away from feeling that people, should have a right to know. If he's prepared to turn up every week and take home people's money to fund his lifestyle, I think, people do have a right to know what he's doing.
I guess the one thing we can kind of slightly agree on is the fact that I don't think injunctions should ever exist, really, because people should never get themselves into the situation where they need to.
Well, yeah, but that's beside the point. The whole concept of a super injunction is I've got more money than you, so I'm going to make you be quiet. Whoever's got the most money can buy their silence, and that's how it's gone. If I'd spent my money watching Manchester United and that's gone into Ryan Giggs' pocket and he's spent that money trying to stop me knowing something about him that he doesn't want me to know, that's really suspicious, and that isn't the kind of role model, the kind of person that I want to be exposing my children to.
But Johnny, he's not pocketing our money though.
Yes, isn't he? Though you buy your ticket to watch Man United, he gets a proportion of that ticket. That's how Manchester United earn their money from ticket sales and merchandise sales. If you buy a shirt, any money that you give to Man United, they pay Ryan Giggs' wages from that money. So you are contributing to his lifestyle, and therefore that makes you worthy of an interest in his lifestyle.
Not his private life, though.
Well, I disagree. If he's I've made the point, about role models he's looked up to as one of the biggest role models in the Premier League, and this is all not good news. If you buy your child a Man United shirt with Giggs on the back, it's not the right message to send to youngsters that this is an okay way to behave.
I think we should move on because I don't think we're ever going to agree on this. All right, we'll look at Luka Modric now. He's dying for a move away from Spurs, well, so we're led to believe, but Daniel Levy, Harry Redknapp have basically stopped him in his tracks and said that he will not move under any circumstances. Can you see him moving though, Johnny? Because you look at how football is now, it's controlled by the players.
It is, and it's controlled by money and players and money. So ultimately, if they get enough money for him, he'll go. That's what it boils down to, But he's under contract at the club, and he won't go unless Harry Redknapp and Daniel Levy say it's okay for him to go. So at the moment they're saying no. If they suddenly, someone comes in with a bid of £100 million, for argument's sake, then that would be more acceptable for him to go. So it all depends on the money, unfortunately.
Well, you touched on something there. I think that's the main problem within this issue. I mean, he is under contract. I think he's got another 3 or 4 years left. And if he actually suddenly decided that he wanted to leave and he started getting unhappy that Spurs took such a stubborn stance on it, then you wouldn't really want to have such an unhappy player at your football club because that just disrupts harmony. But legally, he's under a 3 to 4 year contract, so he should see it through. But as I say, if he gets unhappy and restless, then you're not going to want him.
No, and the same thing happened with Louis Saha when he was playing for Fulham. Manchester United were interested in him, and Louis Saha lambasted the Fulham board for refusing to let him go and refusing to let him progress in his career, and that's just totally wrong. He's signed a contract with Fulham; he should honour that contract. So the type of attitude that a player has, the contract means absolutely diddly squat.
Well, let's not forget that Luka Modric will definitely not be the last person to ever demand a move. But me personally, I think from the player's perspective, I think he should stay at Spurs. I mean, he's a pivotal player in their system, and I can't see him being that effective elsewhere.
No, you're right, and I was saying the same thing when Tottenham signed Stephen Pienaar from us in the January transfer window. Pienaar went to Tottenham because he wanted the bright lights, the big city, the Champions League football, and ultimately he's been warming the bench most of the time. When he was playing for Everton, he was an automatic pick. He started every game. The same could be said about Luka Modric at Tottenham. He starts every game. He's pivotal to what Tottenham are about. If he goes to a Chelsea or a Barcelona or a Inter Milan or wherever, the caliber of players that are there, is he going to be, automatically in the team? Is things going to revolve around him the way they do at Tottenham? I highly doubt it. And, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. It's been proven by a lot of moves that players have made. So I think he should count himself lucky where he is and reassess the situation.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Stephen Pienaar is the fine example of a typical footballer. He moved for money more than actually getting first-team football, and look where he is now. He's not going to be... Me personally, if I was a footballer, I'd always want to play every week. I wouldn't mind how much I was earning. If I was after a move where it's more money but you weren't guaranteed first-team football, me personally, I would reject it flat down.
Well, I agree with you, and I'd do the same, but unfortunately, in the modern-day era, players aren't interested in that sort of thing. They're interested in the money and the lifestyle, and it's not about the football anymore. Which, until you go further down the Football League pyramid, it actually becomes more about the football and the money. So it's disappointing to see.
Well, you look at Kevin Nolan. I think it was the start of the month. He pledged his future at Newcastle, said he was absolutely delighted to be the captain. And then 2 weeks later, he swans off to West Ham.
I know, it's a bizarre move, but that's his choice. If a player, if West Ham bid for his services and Newcastle accept that bid and they accept personal terms, then that's the business done, So, like we go back onto the loyalty point about Roberto Martinez, where's the loyalty that Kevin Nolan showed? But, if Newcastle were happy with the offer that West Ham made, then who are we to criticise?
Well, no, I think the main point from that is that West Ham have got a superb signing there, especially at Championship level.
Well, yeah, definitely. Dropping down from the Premier League, myself, I can't understand it, but if Kevin Nolan feels that that's a better move for him personally, then, fair play to him.
Fair play to him indeed. The final point of this podcast, we'll talk about Thierry Henry's red card. Well, I say red card in hyphens. He's got his 8th goal of the season to make him joint top scorer for Landon Donovan from the Galaxy. And then he was sent off for basically patting the head of Adam Moffat from the Portland Timbers. It's banded across YouTube. We'll see it for ourselves. What is that about?
Well, as a newly qualified referee myself, I'm siding with the referee totally on this one. Thierry Henry put himself in that situation. He gave the referee a decision to make. If you watch it carefully, it wasn't just a gentle pat. He hit him fairly hard. There was a fair deal of pressure he used with that. It was, an arrogant, cocky gesture which he did, which, I think was designed to incite violence, possibly get his opponent carded or sent off himself. And you can see the way, afterwards he went up and shook the referee's hand sarcastically, But as a referee, he had absolutely no option, Thierry Henry. It was violent conduct, whether you like it or not, whether it's a gentle tap on your head or it's, a Ricky Hatton right hook to your jaw, it's violent conduct and it's a red card offence. And Thierry Henry put himself in that position by doing that. If he keeps his hands by his side, he doesn't get sent off. It's as simple as that.
Well, I should first congratulate you on your referee qualification and hope the best for the future. But when you look at the incident, come on, Johnny, he hardly touched him.
Well, you can say he hardly touched him, but it doesn't matter how hard you touched him or not, whether it was a gentle tap, whether it was a little flick, or whether it was really aggressive punch straight to the nose. It doesn't matter what it is, it's violent conduct, and it's not permitted on a football field, and it's punishable by a red card.
But how can that be classed as violent conduct, though? It's not like... I said to you earlier on, you compare that to the World Cup tackles. I know you shouldn't really do that, but, Van Bommel, Nigel de Jong, there are 2 pieces of common assault. You'd get arrested for that if you did it outside of a football ground, and they got yellow cards. So how would you get a red card for pretty much feeling the hair of someone else?
Well, the law states that if striking or attempting to strike an opponent with excessive force is deemed violent conduct and is a red card offence. And there is no way what Thierry Henry did could be summed up anything other than striking or attempting to strike an opponent with excessive force. So the referee is absolutely right to do what he did. Everyone's up in arms, saying, he could have got away with a yellow. And it's just not the case whatsoever. It was violent conduct, and it's punishable by a red card, and he hasn't got a leg to stand on, Thierry Henry. And, I've made the point earlier. If he doesn't do that, if he keeps his hands by his sides, he doesn't get sent off, and we're not here discussing it now. So he's only got himself to blame.
On that point, I can agree with you. I mean, Henry should have known better to actually do that. But when you look at it, and I know you've got to look at the letters of the law, and if you raise your hands in any sort of way, then you are asking for trouble, even in a red card. Well, mostly it's a red card, but sometimes you can get yellow cards as well, which kind of blurs the image a little bit. I think it annoys me personally when I think back to Ali Adier. I think he got sent off at Anfield for it was literally a tickle on Mascherano's face. I mean, Mascherano's soft as it is. I mean, we knew that years ago, but he got sent off, Ali Adier. He got a 3-match ban. Then we looked at it, we reputed the decision, and went to the FA. They said it was frivolous, and now they're on another two games, 5 games for a tickle. It's ludicrous, really. It really is.
Well, you can say it's ludicrous, but that's the letter of the law, and people talk about the words common sense, and if you read the FIFA laws of the game, you will not find the words common sense in that book at all. Everything comes down to law, everything comes down to governance, and every action on a football field is covered in that book. And what Thierry Henry did, whether it's a tickle or whether it's a punch, you cannot touch another player in the face deliberately like that. It all comes under the umbrella term of violent conduct. And it's a red card offence. And if you don't want to get sent off for violent conduct, don't raise your hands to another player. It's as simple as that.
Do you think it's down to the individual referee to actually use some common sense in that situation? Or do you think if you watch it being watched by a referee's assessors, then yeah, you should follow the law and just send him off?
No, because then you're not, as soon as you use the word common sense, you make one decision different to another, people will start criticising you for being inconsistent. And I can't for 1 minute fathom what you're saying, that you're actually suggesting that a referee should follow the letter of the laws only when he's being assessed, and then when he's not being assessed, he can do what he wants. It's a bizarre comment to make.
No, I don't mean it like that.
Where do you draw the line, to be honest, Paul? If you can slap somebody in the face with an open palm, is that worthy of a yellow card? But if it's a closed fist, is that a red? They're both violent conduct, they're both raising your hands to an opponent, and they're both punishable by a red card offence. You can't segregate a less severe violent conduct than a more severe violent conduct. It's still violent conduct, and it's a red card. It's as simple as that. And it literally comes down to the point that I've said a couple of times, and I'll reinforce the point again. If you do not want to be sent off for violent conduct, do not raise your hands to an opponent. And you won't have a problem. You won't give the referee a decision to make if you don't push people in the back of the head. It is as simple as that.
Well, there's a lesson for players all over the world. My thanks goes to Johnny, as usual, and we should wrap it up this week. This is a Paul Ellis production, and we'll see you the same time next week. Goodbye.